This morning, a breakthrough in Gaza. Israel says it will allow Egypt to deliver some humanitarian aid into Gaza, where food and water are in short supply.
Well, President Biden is now back in D.C. this morning, and tonight he'll deliver a primetime address. We have Chelsea Edwards now. Chelsea, he's going to focus on U.S. support for Israel and for Ukraine. After she disappeared, Natalie Holloway's family finally knows what happened to her.
The prime suspect, Joran Vandersloot, admitted to beating the then 8. Well, we all know how protective dads can be when it comes to their kids, especially if you're a girl dad.
Yeah, so come watch the viral moment of a dad's reaction to his daughter being asked to homecoming in front of his face.
Makes you nervous. Amazon is testing drone deliveries for medications, and guess what? The Cleveland ISD are concerned about more than a dozen drug overdoses, most of them at the high school. They heard the district's plan last night on how they're going to combat the problem.
So Abigail Dye reports on how parents can get involved.
More advocacy groups are taking on school vouchers, the governor's top priority in this third special session.
So Carissa Limcool with our sister station in Austin is breaking down how this is more on has more on a petition delivered to lawmakers.
Crime is down across the board in the city this year compared to last.
So voters say that crime is top of mind going into the November 7 election for Houston mayor. So Chelsea Edwards is breaking down the numbers as we get ready for early voting, which starts on Monday. So without a speaker, Republicans will try again today to nominate a new one. Congressman Jim Jordan failed to get enough votes in the second round of voting yesterday, even though his party controls the chamber.
Did you get a really high power bill recently? Many of us did. So many Texans in the same boat and wondering what happened, why so high.
Okay, so it was a record hot summer, but we have our consumer reporter Heather Sullivan here telling us that something else drove up the price.
Whatever makes you feel best, I would suggest.
In the words of Wake Up, we always say these researchers end with more research is needed.
I think that's probably the case there. Well, welcome back to Houston's Morning Show, everyone. I'm Melissa Wilson.
Bums me out. I can't have peanut M&Ms because I'm allergic to peanuts. So I guess I'll just stick with Kit Kats.
What's your favorite? The Kit Kat. That's the one? All right.
It's healthy if I leave one of them behind.
Sure it is.
Then it's less calories.
Everything in moderation.
Sure. Well, yeah. All right. Well, I'll have to get on that train. But they were strangers.
Amazing how that worked out.
And that the internet did something good for once.
Finally.
You know what? There's so much junk out there. It's 5 minutes.
Thank you, JD. Houston police say crime is down across the board in our city compared to this time last year.
So Chelsea Edwards is going to break down the numbers.
Agreed to allow Egypt to deliver limited humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip.
So you can watch the president address the nation tonight at 7 o'clock right here on Fox 26. And Doug Luzada reports the president will focus on U.S. support for Israel and Ukraine. Well, after last night's win, the Astros looking to tie up the ALCS tonight against the Rangers in Arlington tonight.
Okay, so regardless of the outcome, we know Houston is the best baseball team in Texas, right? But when it comes to barbecue...
You know what? In theaters tomorrow, you can watch the inspiring story of marathon swimmer Diana Nyad.
Yeah, she made headlines for becoming the first person ever to swim from Cuba to Florida at 64 years old. Now her journey is on the big screen. BackstageOL.com. Jonathan Stenwell is here with a preview of Nyad. Wow, this sounds inspirational.
I can't imagine doing that at 36 years old, let alone
seriously.
in the 60s. You know, I got to off Mount Everest.
My goodness.
Those two won an Oscar for their documentary Maru, and this is their first feature film. They did a fantastic job. Nyad is open in theaters tomorrow. Definitely go check it out. And it'll be on Netflix in a couple of weeks.
Her reaction.
Yeah.
This says it all.
Yeah, she was like, no.
I'm not winning. I mean, for a year of swimming, training.
Yeah. That's insane. And Jodie Foster played Bonnie Stoll, who was sitting there with them. She was the trainer as well.
It looks great. Lina?
Ballot breakdowns again, because we got to get you ready to head over to the voting booth for early voting, which starts on Monday. So we're breaking it down. We're going to start with Proposition 9. This is the text here, and it deals with money for retired teachers. So here's what it does. It sets aside about $3.5 billion for the first cost of living raise in 10 years for retired teachers who get pensions, and the money comes from the budget surplus. So you want to vote for if you feel that retired teachers don't have that that cost of living adjustment built into their retirement benefit, and this would help them kind of with the higher inflation that's happening right now. You want to vote against if you believe this isn't really enough money to keep up with the rate of inflation, and it doesn't do anything to address the teacher shortage here in Texas. Now, Proposition 10 deals with industry tax breaks. So this is the text of Proposition 10. Here's what it means. It provides a property tax break for biomedical companies by exempting the value of the equipment that they use to make medical supplies and devices. You'll want to vote for if you think, hey, that tax break might encourage more biomed companies to move here to Texas. It also might possibly shore up the medical equipment supply chain, although that's not a guarantee. You want to vote against if you feel that property tax break with no state income tax really limits the state's income and funding for projects and services statewide. Giving a tax break to this industry specifically means that other industries end up maybe with a higher tax burden, or maybe you're thinking, I believe in it, but I don't think that it should be a constitutional amendment. So remember, we have 14 of these propositions for Texas constitutional amendments. We're breaking them down for you one by one. You'll find them online at fox26houston.com. Don't forget, Election Day is November 7th, and early voting starts on Monday the 23rd.